You might need to remove tension from the belt, and with that, the motor should drop down and be free. Then we can access all the wires and connectors. Next, we need to remove the discharge port. To do this, just remove these 3 bottom screws with a 3mm Allen key. With the bolts removed, you can remove the discharge port. You should just be able to pull it out. If you need a little more slack or to get more access, you can unplug the XT60 connector there. Now we can take our wire with the display and throttle plugs and thread it all the way back through to the motor. And we can unplug that connector. Just follow the wire and trace it. Just like so. There it is. Then you'll plug your new one in. And there is a certain shape to this connector, so there's no way you're plugging it in the wrong way. We recommend you make sure they are fully seated with the pliers. Just grab the very end of the plastic and make sure it is fully pressed in. You've made it this far. We want to make sure this connection is fully seated and inserted to the motor. Now we need to put things back together. Run your wires back through this gap here. And we can continue running them up. And in through the frame.
If they want, you can put something over here to make it fishable.
Yeah, you can tape a little bit of shifter cable or something to it to make it easier to fish it through this cavity and out of here.
This plug 1.
May require some finesse, but it is very possible. There, we got that other end through. And we can just pull the wire fairly taut before proceeding forward with motor reinstallation. Let's put our discharge port back in. Make sure you re-plug it in if you have unplugged it. The end will be off of this dualizer. Reinsert it, making sure all of our wires are very much on top of it and corresponding with the slot. Push the port into the frame and reinstall our 3 bolts that we removed with a 3mm Allen key. All 3 screws installed in. Your discharge port should be secure, and we can get back to reinstalling the motor into the bike. For motor reinstallation, we recommend you take advantage of gravity. We're just going to use our stand to push the motor down onto this seat to push it into the frame before installing any of our bolts. Tell me when.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we've got the bike upside down here.
Sorry, spindle to you.
Yeah. I'll show you. Wait a second. Okay. So it will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
align all of our bolts. We put the wires out to the side to make this easier. And you'll just need to route everything one bolt at a time.
From the top.
Pressing into the frame.
Okay, so this has aligned. Then we have to align that one, and finally we have this one, but this one can be pushed down.
May need a few taps of the mallet to get this seated in. You might need to wedge in the front side of the motor, then the back, then give it a couple taps to make sure it is fully seated. And to get some mounting bolts started, you'll also likely need to tap things with a mallet.
In some cases, when the motor holes are not aligned with the frame, you can take the Allen key and push it like this.
Yeah, just use your Allen key as almost a lever to reposition. And there. This requires more repositioning. Once your bolt's inserted, you can tighten it into the frame and the motor. So you'll need to put in a one of the washers and the bolt, and then just tighten a washer and a nut, and then just tighten into the nut here. Should be fairly secure on the frame once you get it started, and a couple threads inserted. Just like that, we can see the bolt is secure, the nut is secured by the frame. And the bolt is inserted. A little bit of grease on these bolts will make it a lot easier to install them into the frame. Again, just hold the nut secure, tighten the bolt into it. There, that nut will be secure in the frame. Just tighten the bolts fully into it. Make sure these bolts are torqued very good.